it's not the case, as we will talk about. We also use water in a different way, and that's in an underwater treadmill or aquatic treadmill. There's a couple of terms that you may have heard. On the left, you'll see the dog swimming, and on the right, you see obviously the dog in the underwater treadmill. Now, the difference between those is that swimming is an open kinetic chain activity or exercise, which what that means is that the body part away from the trunk is free during movement. So the legs are free during their movement, and not any point are they in contact with a surface. So what that means is there's no proprioceptive endpoint. So to improve proprioception, you really ought to have your, in a functional way, you need to have your foot in contact with the surface. And for example, balancing on one leg, or your physiotherapist has asked you to do a 3-legged stand with your pet, by just drawing one leg away from the surface and getting them to maintain their core and dynamic stability and their balance through the remaining limbs as well. So open kinetic chain activities or exercise is, you don't have that proprioceptive endpoint, as I mentioned. It can be useful when there's loss of range of motion or swelling, which you otherwise wouldn't be able to, or your pet might find difficult when they're undertaking underwater treadmill therapy. So it can be a very useful form of exercise, but we're not going to be talking about swimming in depth today. Whereas,
I'm glad you said that, though, because as a vet, people often ask, because they know about hydro and the underwater treadmill, and they kind of just feel like it's the same thing. And they say, oh, well, this centre, they've only got the treadmill, so that's what we do there. But actually, it's really important that you are doing the right thing for what you're hoping to achieve in your dog.
Absolutely. And we only have the underwater treadmill at Davies.
Okay.
We did look at the opportunity to also have a pool, but the patients that we certainly see at Davies benefit more so from the underwater treadmill, in our opinion, and looking at sort of our research into it as well. So we get some excellent results with the underwater treadmill, and I may be slightly biased on that front, but there's certainly many patients I will recommend swimming for also. So it depends what the presentation is, what the underlying diagnosis is, the number of factors